Allura, one of the co-hosts for last year.
There's a great shot of the Bundaberg club as they round the wheel. The teams are judged, of course, on 7 different sections, on alignment and marching skills.
And Northern Territory, always a delight to have them at the Australian Championships, and this year the first time in the interstate teams competition.
Yes, and they in fact scored points for the very first time in the beach flags event of that competition. Go Peninsula. In the picture there now is the Collaroy Club. Won many Australian March Past Championships and had great tussles with the Bundaberg Club over the last 30 years.
Southport, South Australia, strong contender for the March Past title.
Yes. South Australian champions for many years, in excess of 20 years. The green, blue and white, black stripes. Very strong March Past team.
So the marching's been completed. Now waiting on the judges to give us the final points in the March Past. A colourful sight, always a great opening to the finals here in Australian Championships. So the order's been given. The judges have done their work, and shortly we'll know who's won the March Past. And we'll also be getting into the major finals here at Burleigh Heads. Over 325,000 lives have been saved from the surf lifesavers right around the strait on the history of the movement, and it's a spine-tingling occasion when the March Past teams line up. A chance for the spectators to really enjoy the atmosphere and warm up towards the finals of an Australian Championships. For some of the 65,000 surf lifesavers from around Australia, and a big tourist promotion on the Gold Coast, or any Australian Championships is on, people now waiting for the national anthem.
Australia's sons, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. Where golden soils and wealth to toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gift of beauty, rich and red. In ghostly strains, let us explain advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, come let us sing advance Australia fair.
Bundaberg, their 17th Australian March Past title with 5.05 points. Second, North Cronulla, New South Wales, 7 points. And third, another New South Wales club, Collaroy, conceding 9.5. One of the best fields for the championship. 14 quality competitors in the open surfboard. And this really will be a fantastic final.
It'll be a great final because it's a great quality field.
And Trevor Hendy not only defending his Ironman championship, but also the board.
And now starting to move in on a wave, both Hendy and Tyes on the right-hand side of the screen. And Hendy got the best of that. He left Tyes way behind, and it's Hendy riding that wave.
Looks as though they might have missed the buoy.
Yes. They're starting to paddle out again.
Well, there is.
Paddle out, missed the buoy in the big seas.
A sensation. in the open surfboard.
And it's Craig Shelton from Surfers Paradise currently leading. Dwayne Ties from Sequent now in second. Hendy's clubmate. Hendy missed the buoy. That was drama. But look at Shelton. His powerful shoulders just pushing down this little wave as he makes his way back to the beach. No one can possibly catch him now, but a great race on. Here comes the Grange Club. Gavin Hill in second place. But way out in front is Craig Shelton and David Orchard from Surfers Paradise. Craig Shelton from Surfers now picks up his board, and magnificent physique as he runs up to the line. Well, what a drama-charged event that was. Second place, Darren Schott from Maroubra, and in third place, Trevor Hendy from Surfers Paradise.
What an amazing race. And often it's Hendy that wins it, but Trevor Hendy absolutely delighted for his clubmate and took out the Australian board title.
Fantastic race.
So Trevor Hendy having to go back again, having missed one buoy.
Great drama. Hendy, one of the great favourites for this race, and it forged to a good lead. But they're paddling anti-clockwise instead of clockwise on this occasion because of the strong surf and rips. That may have disorientated him a little, but still a great win by Craig Shelton.
Craig Shelton retaining the title for Surfers Paradise, second Darren Schott of Maroubra, New South Wales, and third last year's champion, Trevor Hendy. And away they go in the BP Open Surf Belt, and all important to start.
Yes, the start played havoc just 2 years ago with one of the champions in this event, Richard Ford from Cronulla, and his reel fell apart. They're away now to a very good start. It's Richard Ford from Cronulla there, diving and running. You see in the light blue cap with the black stripe. Treacherous conditions and quite a long swim.
The other competitors in the event, Stuart Fox, Anglesea, Nick Todd Hunter of Swansea Belmont, Trent Duffy of Cronulla, Danny Short from Maroochydore, and Simon Upton of Manly.
I think Simon Upton of Manly will be one of the hardest competitors to beat. He's in the middle of the picture now, starting to come to a little lead at the top of the picture. On the left-hand side there is Simon Upton, the sky blue cap of Manly. He's closely followed by Trent Duffy from Cronulla. The surf really boiling in. Quite some distance to the boys, and they're swimming very strongly in this BP Open Surf Belt Race Championship.
First to the boys, and watch the hands go up. That's first there with a hand up.
The leading swimmer now, coming up to the red and yellow boys, Simon Upton from the Manly Lifesaving Club, stroking brilliantly. He's just about to touch, and the arms in the air, and a very good win to Simon Upton.
Simon Upton, the Australian backstroke champion, doing all right in the surf as well, winning the Open Surf Belt. He's from Manly. Second, Nick Todd Hunter of Swansea Belmont. And third, Stuart Fox from Anglesea in Victoria. 14 pairs away in the Open double ski. The defending champion, Peter Clark, is not with Barry Kelly. Barry Kelly not contesting this year. It's Clark and Glenn Irwin defending it for Byron Bay.
Yes, Peter Clark now starting to head out on the bottom of the picture there, second up from the bottom ski. We see Peter Clark, the defending champion, with Glenn Irwin from Byron Bay. They've got a nice handy little lead, probably half a ski length. This craft, the fastest craft in surf life-saving competition.
A spectacular shot of the surf conditions. The final not in front of us here in the commentary box has been moved down to the southern end of the beach.
And the conditions here are really very trying. There's enormous waves building up out the back, and as these competitors make their way out, you can see the foam just flying around on the water there. Great view of the surf rolling in, but it's still Clark and Irwin from Byron Bay. Peter Clark been paddling for quite some time now, probably 27, 28 years of age. The boiling surf whipping up in the back there, and all crews in a line.
That high shot very deceptive as to what they're going through, but most of them seem to have got out, which is tremendous. Very fast event, the fastest event at the carnival.
And these paddlers must keep perfect timing. They've managed to escape the big waves going out, but making their way over there. There's more waves breaking up out there. Brad Kane and Barry Parmenter from Southport, Queensland, in the blue caps with the yellow dots, now taking a slight lead, and Cruz falling off. Clark and Irwin from Byron Bay also paddling very well. Coming up to the first turning buoy now.
And they're out to the boys in the open double ski. This is one of the most spectacular events of the championship, and a big surf to bring them home.
Yes, Peter Clark and Glenn Irwin from Byron Bay paddling very, very well. Clark, the defending champion from last year. His partner Barry Kelly not paddling with him this year. In second place, Brad Kane and Gary Parmenter from Southport. Now Greg Dorries and Marcus Edwards from North Burleigh moving up. Look at this wave. This is a magnificent action shot here. And the leaders pounding down. The force behind that wave. They're holding on. Can they hold it? Very, very difficult craft in these conditions. And the leaders now, Byron Bay, paddling in, doing very, very well. Dorries and Edwards from North Burleigh coming in second. And in third place is Martin Kenny and Paul Gilmore from Alexandra Headlands. But it's Peter Clark and Glenn Irwin from the Byron Bay Club. Head on as they move in there. Three crews coming in line for second place. The leaders just starting to move over towards the right-hand side of the screen. But Clark and Irwin from Byron Bay. It's Clark and Irwin from Byron Bay. They've got this event all the way. And Peter Clark has successfully defended his championship from last year. Now a smile starting to appear in his face. He's rested and they're very, very happy. They're the champions. In second place, Greg Dorries and Marcus Edwards from North Burleigh. One of the clubs on the championship beach. And that's a great victory for the local beach, or a great second place for the local beach. But Clark and Irwin from Byron Bay first. Dorries and Edwards from North Burleigh in second.
Jubilation once again for Byron Bay as Peter Clark retains his title, assisted by Glenn Irwin. Second, Greg Dorries and Marcus Edwards of North Burleigh. And third, Brad Kane and Gary Parmenter from Southport, also in Queensland. And away they go in this Speedo Open Surf. The man to beat, Simon Upton, who's recently taken out the BP Open belt.
Great confusion there at the start because the rip is so strong here travelling north that a lot of the competitors, as soon as they reached ankle depth water, which is a required depth, then immediately ran along the beach, headed south to take advantage of this rip as they move out towards the buoys. That's certainly a very, very strong field, a quality field all the way through. Justin Lemberg, former Olympians in there, of course. Simon Upton from Manly, Nick Todd-Hunter from Swansea Bellman, Tony Harris, last year's outstanding champion from Surfers Paradise, Dean Peters from Western Australia, Lord from Northcliffe, the quality Adam Sandbrook from Southport, and of course the world champion Craig Riddington from Manly.
Most of the surf races earlier today have been way down the northern end of the beach at North Burleigh. Fortunately, they've brought it back in front of the main area for the final.
Yes, last year's champion Tony Harris in the light blue cap with the gold star, right up with the leaders. Surfers Paradise performing very, very well here today. Craig Riddington from Manly and Simon Upton from Manly, also right up near the lead at the moment. They went right, as we spoke of earlier at the start, and taking the advantage now as they try and make their way back towards the buoys. Very big surf and very, very strong current.
And very, very hard throughout the carnival to lay the buoys, and great efforts by the IRB.
And there's the cup of Manly, swimming strongly, looks like Upton. They're being swept a long way north. Swimmers doing it very tough as they try and swim south over to the buoys. Those that went south in the run at the start now have the advantage, but that shows the rip just pushing them up towards North Burleigh Beach. Strongest swimmers in Australia fighting against the sea. Going to be very, very difficult. This race will take some time.
He's having to expend a lot of energy to come back virtually directly towards the boy.
Simon Upton from Manly in the middle of the screen there in the light blue cap, just diving under that wave. Probably swimming the strongest of them all. His arms reaching way out in front. Craig Riddington from Manly also up there, and Kassane, the son of John Kassane, the former Australian surf champion, also in there.
Which means you see the waves breaking where the boys are, so as soon as they get round, they can easily pick up a wave.
The surfers will be on a wave, and Craig Riddington, one of the greatest surfers in Australia, if he can be anywhere near the lead as the waves come round, he'll be on a wave, and he'd hold it a long, long way in.
This is quite amazing, the amount of hard work they've got to do to get up towards the boy. You can almost see, you can virtually see it dragging them back, and these are the top surf lifesavers, swimming-wise, in Australia.
Yes, they're way outside the boys. I think that they will go out further than the boys to take advantage of trying to crack a wave when they come in. Rather than stick close to the boys and swim the shorter distance, they'll move out. There's no required distance they have to stay within the boys as long as they're around them, and they're moving out to sea so that they can take advantage of a wave. They don't want to get washed inside the boys either by these big waves breaking on the boys and causing disqualification. But Simon Upton of Manly, the sky blue cap of Manly Life Saving Club, swimming very strongly. Craig Riddington is also there. The Nick Todd-Hunter from Swansea Belmont is figuring prominently. He's the New South Wales champion with Wayne McGregor from North Cronulla. And Dean Peters from Scarborough, also a very good surfer.
Well, these conditions have been prevailing for 4 days now. You'll notice the dirt that's in the surf. It's been chopped around, and now there's a tremendous example of the hard work the swimmers got to do.
That appears to be Gary Watson from Southport. Very prominent swimmer, an Australian representative, but they're a long way out to sea past the boys now, looking for the wave that's going to carry them into the gold medal. Craig Riddington, the world champion, has now forged his way to the lead.
So getting towards going around the boys in the Speedo Open Surf, and Craig Riddington of Manly is the leader.
Yes, the current world champion, a long way out past the boys, as are most of the good swimmers. And Riddington, a very, very strong swimmer, and of course a magnificent surfer. Simon Upton from Manly would have been considered one of the favourites for this race. And of course, right up there now, he's in second place. The surf very, very strong, the current enormously strong, sweeping them north. And the waves breaking a long way out past the boys. This is a very long and a very difficult swim.
Yes, a number of the Stillwater champions like Justin Lemberg and Robbie Woodhouse and Simon Upton, but marked contrast from the Stillwater and a couple of years ago in Scarborough.
Certainly is, Roger. Now, they've been swimming along the back of the boys here for probably 3 or 4 minutes, trying to make a distance of 20 or 30 metres. And a lot of them finding it very, very difficult. A lot of the swimmers being swept close. You see the rescue boats there, ready to pick up. But Craig Riddington is almost nearly ready to turn. He's forced his way out the back. He's even with the red and yellow boy out the back, Craig Riddington. Here's a surfer, couldn't make it out, and he's running south along the beach to have another go. But there's Craig Riddington from Manly. Swimming strongly, he's about to go around the red and yellow boy, looking for the swell. Just made it around, forcing himself not to be caught and washed inside, and automatically the rip takes him. Now these surfers, he's going to have to crack a broken wave if he wants to beat the swimmers out the back. His arms thrashing in the surf. Craig Riddington never ever won an Australian surf championship, yet he is the current world champion. No doubt about his surfing prowess, and waves building up, crashing down on the sandbar. This could be Craig Riddington's race. He could be the Speedo Open surf champion. He looks over his shoulder, swimming strongly, reaching right out in front. His powerful shoulders pulling him through the water, taking as much lift as he possibly can, and he's picked up a broken wave, giving him an extra few metres. Harris, last year's champion from Surfers Paradise, way back in 3rd place. Reddington used all of his strength to make it round the boys in order to get that lead that he needed. And there's the Sky Blue Cup of Manly coming home. The world champion in great position. 2nd place is Cronulla, probably Richard Ford. Tony Harris from Southport in 3rd. Probably about another 10 metres to go. Reddington's up now and running. Big Craig Reddington. This will be a very popular victory. He's tried for a long time to win this open surf race, and it's Craig Reddington from Manly, looking as fresh as a daisy after one of the toughest surf race swims ever. Crosses and breaks through the banner there, and Manly has won a gold medal through Craig Reddington's efforts in the Open Surf Race Championship. There's Richard Ford from Cronulla coming out into 2nd place, a former Australian champion. And now Tony Harris, last year's champion from Surfers Paradise, running out into 3rd. And look at that surf. Unbelievably tough conditions.
Craig, how did you finally find those boys out there?
Well, I could see them, but just getting past them was the hardest part. Just trying to. It was a sort of mind game because we were swimming close to the boys and weren't getting anywhere. So I decided to go out further, where the rip wasn't as strong, and sort of paid off. It still took us 5 minutes or so to get to the end of it, but it sort of paid off.
After you turned the cans, Craig, when did you realise you were in the lead? You had the lead of this championship.
I knew if I could get around the last boy that I would win.
Craig Reddington confirming his world champion status by winning the Speedo Open Surf. 2nd, Richard Ford, a former champion, Cronulla, New South Wales. And 3rd, Tony Harris, his 1st year in the Open from Surfers Paradise in Queensland. And away they go in the solo open single ski final. And the defending champion, Chris Bond of the entrance, is not in the final.
Going to be a great race. There's some fantastic paddlers there, and as we've said earlier, these great conditions, big waves, strong rips, plenty of foam, and very, very strong winds is going to really make these competitors work extremely hard on the way out to the boys.
And Grant Kenny, one of the most famous names in surf life saving, not only 4 times Ironman champion, but also twice single ski champion.
Yes, Grant, of course, is the world single ski champion at the moment. Won the title here on the Gold Coast at Southport. You see him in the bottom of the picture in the bright red and yellow ski. Peter Clark from Byron Bay opening up a very good lead now. Clark just won the double ski race just a few minutes ago, obviously on a high. Kenny now starting to move up on him, lifting his back there to get the nose of the ski over those swells. And Clark just got hit by a good one. There's Grant Kenny now moved to the lead. Very, very powerful competitor, very strong competitor, dual Olympian, and has a great knowledge, of course, of the surf.
So still working out through the very awkward conditions. The wave knocking them back. And Grant Kenny looking in a good position.
Well, Grant Kenny put himself in a good position. You make your own luck to a great extent in surf lifesaving, and now he's opened up a tremendous lead. He was able to work out the way the waves were going to break and where the shoulder of the waves would be, and he's pushed himself over, and as the picture shows there, he's way out in front.
Marked contrast to the conditions in Scarborough last time he won in 1987. Grant Kenny goes round the buoy on the solo open single ski. Round the first buoy.
And Grant Kenny has an enormous lead. Used his surfing skill and knowledge to get out there in through the big break. Did it exceptionally well. Peter Clark from Byron Bay paddling very well in 2nd place. But look at Grant Kenny on the bright red and yellow ski.
Just recently retired from kayaks for the last 2 Olympics, and now winding up again for the run home.
And again, using his great knowledge, you see him coming across there just to pick up that little skate, escaped the big waves, taken a wave that he can handle easily, has an enormous lead over the rest of the field, and really only has to hold that wave to come back, and he's the solo open ski champion, the current world champion, previous Australian champion, and probably one of the most famous names in surf life saving competition. But Grant Kenny now coming in, the waves building up, throwing his ski all over the place. McKenny looking around, he knows there's no real close challenges. And the red and yellow ski of Grant Kenny from Alexandra Headlands coming in very, very strongly.
Peter Clark, who's just won the double ski, has come off.
Well, that's a shame. He was in second place. But Grant Kenny now, look at the concentration on his eyes, looking for the finishing area, going very, very strong. And Grant Kenny from Alexandra Headlands now, pushing his ski across, and he's won another gold medal in the solo open single ski race. Alan Boyce from Byron Bay now coming in second place, and Peter Clark from Byron Bay also on the same wave.
Third National Single Ski Championship to Grant Kenny of Alexandra Headlands. Second, Peter Clark of Byron Bay, remembering he took out the gold medal in the double ski. And third, Alan Boyce of Swansea Caves, New South Wales. Set in the women's beach sprint, and it's a good start too. Watch for the lady in the orange, Lyndall Beeves, coming strongly through. She's the favourite. She looks like she'll take it out. Lyndall Beeves, a strong challenge coming from the lady in black, Natalie Bailey, very close. And Bailey gets there, I think. It was very close. A big finish coming from Natalie Bailey from Warhope, Bonnie Hills, and that's an upset in the women's beach sprint. A very strong finish by the runner in black, Natalie Bailey, and also the New Zealand girl, Karen Whiteside, in white. And it is definitely Bailey winning it, and very close between second and third between the favourite Lyndall Beeves and Karen Whiteside from Fitzroy in New Zealand. An upset win by Natalie Bailey from Warhope, Bonnie Hills in the women's beach sprint, beating the more favoured Lyndall Beeves of Allura, New South Wales, with Karen Whiteside of Fitzroy in New Zealand taking third. And Craig Shelton towards the second last leg of the Taplin relay. He's the current Australian champion, and Surfers Paradise on top at the moment. He's going to hand over to none other than Trevor Hendy.
It's going to be a magnificent finish. Hendy, probably one of the strongest board paddlers in the field. Missed the turning buoy in the board race earlier today, but Craig Shelton now is powering home in this very, very big surf. This has been a testing race. Southport have a lot of pride in this event. They've won this on many occasions. But Surfers Paradise currently leading from Anglesea, Victoria. Chris Maynard paddling the board for them. That's Shelton now, just approaching the beach. He's got another 20 or 30 metres to go, and he'll step off the board very shortly. Brings it round nicely, stands up on the board, runs up. He will sprint and run down to Trevor Hendy.
Well, it's a rare happening because Southport's dominated this event over the years. They've won 8 out of the 10, out of the last 10, and Craig Shelton and Trevor Hendy of Surfers Paradise and the rest of the team look as though they're going to break the stranglehold of Southport.
It does appear that way. There's Hendy running in now, although the surf is such that it can push even the best of paddlers around at the moment. But you see Hendy paddling out. He's very strong. He's got the Ironman final to follow this. His competitors should be exhausted when they get back to the beach. They've had to paddle some 600 or 700 metres because of the surf conditions, but they're sprinting as though it was the final of the open beach sprint.
Yes, a long run too because of the angle they come back into the beach. That's because of the conditions and the changeover.
Changeover for Southport, Queensland, and that's Mark Bennett, a great board paddler for Southport. He's figured in 14 Australian Ironman finals, and he's in the final later this afternoon. If anybody can pull anything off in the surf, it could be Benny. But still, Surfers Paradise paddling very, very well. Tweed Hedge Coolangatta in second position, and third the Manly B team. Manly A team, one of the favourites for the event, were not treated kindly by the huge waves earlier in the race, with some of their ski paddlers losing their skis.
Well, the wind seems
Manly A team has in fact moved up into fourth position, but it's still Trevor Hendy from Surfers Paradise Surf Club, an outstanding competitor in surf life-saving competition, paddling easily as he makes his way out.
And the wind seems to have picked up even more now towards the end of the day. There's strong wind coming offshore, and that'll just add to the excitement for the Ironman. And Trevor Hendy
interesting to see the way Mark Bennett's from Southport entered the water, where most competitors have been travelling south to take advantage of the rip. Mark Bennett has put in a do-or-die effort, and he's going to guts it out right from the very start and go straight out to the turning buoys.
Just warm up for the Ironman.
Yes.
Hendy having a look over his shoulder. Now the Taplin relay, what's the connection behind the Taplin?
It was named after a judge in California in the United States of America, a gentleman called Taplin, who was a judge of the district court over there. Took a great interest in lifeguard operations and was a part-time lifeguard as well as being a judge. And they got together and decided to create an event in his honour. So we had the Judge Taplin relay in America and the Taplin relay out here. Southport, Queensland now moved up into second place, and Bennett, as we predicted, has put in a magnificent battle going out. But Hendy looking around, had a little swivel on his board, and a competitor just onto the left of your picture will come in. Trevor Hendy now coming down the wave nicely. He'll have no problem handling it. A great finish here. See Trevor Hendy come into picture soon in the lead. There he is now, leaning back, resting, getting ready for the run. Looks so relaxed in his style. One arm in the water to just bring the board round, take advantage of the change in direction of the wave. This event's been almost 30 minutes now, I guess, to decide an Australian Championship and 6 gold medals for members of the winning team.
Well, it's better than a couple of days ago when they're taking an hour to get through the heats.
Yes, I think the conditions have eased a little bit, but probably the competitors have learnt a lot about the conditions as well. But it's still Surfers Paradise leading the event. Second place is Southport. Third, Tweed Heads Coolangatta. There's Trevor Hendy. He's about to run up. They can't be beaten now, and Hendy will take his second gold medal of these championships with the Ironman still to come. Running along the beach, quite a big smile on his face. Magnificent physique.
Taplin relay considered by many to be prestigious event of all, a real team relay, and emphasises the strength of the club.
Yes. No question about that. You see the team members there very, very happy. Mark Bennett's paddling in now for Southport in second place. Of course, it's a great test of the depth of strength of a club. All of these events are designed to simulate rescue situations. There's Mark Bennett from Southport. Stands up, ready to run down. Been competing for over 19 years now. Running along the beach.
A long run too.
Very long run, probably 200 metres to run up towards the finishing flags. Another competitor coming in very close to the water's edge, but Mark Bennett's doing it easy, coming along into second place. Following Southport in third place will be Tweed Heads and Coolangatta, the most southern club, or second most southern club in the Point Danger branch of Queensland, just near the border.
The first ever success in the prestigious Taplin relay to Surfers Paradise, second Southport Queensland, and third Tweed Heads Coolangatta. "90 metres into a strong headwind and a good start by Peters. That's Warren Peters in the middle. Over on the right in the green is Darren Peters going very well. It'll be close. I think one of the Peters will win it. In fact, the winner will be Darren Peters. And in the green, a convincing win by the world champion Darren Peters. Very close for second. Maybe the other Peters, Warren. And on this side, Mark Korsman. But a fine effort by Darren Peters from Wollongong. A convincing performance by the pocket rocket Darren Peters to take out the national title. Second, Mark Korsman of Redhead. And third, Darren's twin brother, Warren Peters, who's won 2 national titles himself. The Association Premiership for the Sir Adrian Curlewis Trophy was taken out by Northcote, Queensland, coached by John Ogilvie. A brilliant performance, just conceding .08 of a point. Second, Bribie Island of Queensland, and third, Swansea Belmont. And it's going to be a thrilling finale to the Kellogg's Nutrigrain Junior Ironman, as the lead has just been taken over by David Foyst from Cudgeon Headlands, from Alex Massey of Maroochydore, and third place at the moment Bagti Tayak of Torquay.
Competitors really forcing themselves out against this strong rip. The gentleman, young chap from Maroochydore, Ashley Massey on the left-hand side, and just gone out of the picture on the right-hand side. We've got David Foyster from Cudgeon Headlands on the blue board. Now there's the Maroochydore competitor on the yellow board, paddling out, huge waves building up behind them. Winds are getting stronger as the day goes on. And Ashley Massey from Maroochydore now with a nice little lead over David Foyster from Cudgeon Headlands. These two competitors fought out the first two legs between them, and they're now on the last leg, coming out towards the turning buoys. All they have then is the wave home, and it should be a great thrilling race.
I just noticed one of these swimmers still going on the swim leg, so
Yes.
it's still a long way to go from that competitor.
The rip is very strong out there, and if you miss the turning buoy, you've got to swim back, and it's very hard to swim back against that rip. But Ashley Massey now, a great shot coming into the wave there. Very big swells, they're up and paddling over them. Still keeping all their style, which is good to see their coaches drumming that into them, that they've got to keep their style when they paddle, otherwise the wind will just blow them all over the place. Massey now with quite a good lead. You see the orange turning buoy just out the back there, the rescue boat. And going up around the inward black and white turning buoys on the board. Orange one's related to the surf ski. And still Ashley Massey from Maroochydore. Still looking fairly fresh, looks around to check out the waves. Big swells building up behind him here. He'll get quite a good lift on this. Doubt if he'll be able to take it all the way in, but it's built up and he's caught it nicely. A wave all the way from the buoys, and paddling strongly now as he comes down to the bottom, taking hold of the side of his board. He'll lay down just here, sure that he doesn't lose it. He sees a gold medal in his sights up. Start paddling. Ashley Massey from Maroochydore, Grant Kenny, the interested spectator down there, waiting for the open final to come shortly. And here he comes now, cornering across the wave, looking great. Right hand in there, just keeping the board level. Massey from Maroochydore now pounding in through these huge surfs at Burleigh Heads in Queensland at the Australian Surf Life Saving Championships. He's got not too far to go, probably about 60 to 70 metres before he reaches the shore. Wave building up again behind him, and he'll take this and paddle strongly. Got an enormous lead now from the second place competitor, Foster from Cudgeon Headlands, who's just come into the picture there. But back on the shore, it's Massey from Maroochydore on the Queensland Sunshine Coast. Up leaves his board, big smile on his face, the crowd's applauding, and look at just how fast he's running. He's just had to travel about 1,500 metres through boiling surf, and he's sprinting like a beach sprint.
Isn't he loving every moment of this? Alex Massey of Maroochydore takes out the junior Ironman in a great performance.
Crosses through the barrier there. Here's the second place getter now. It's Foster from Cudgeon Headlands from the far north coast of New South Wales. They hosted the 1978 Australian Championships, and a host of competitors coming in out the back wave. But Foster on the blue board on the right hand side of the screen. He'll be the second place competitor. But Massey's win was just enormous on the circumstances.
Yes, considering that Foyster took over at the early stages of the final leg. A good comeback by Massey.
Yes, I think Foster might have lost his way around the buoys a little bit out there, but Grant Kenny now congratulating the winner before he goes back to concentrate on the final of his open event. Comes shortly after this race.
And away they go on the Johnson Wax Ironman, and the rain is starting to come down at Burleigh Heads, and it's all set up. There's a big crowd, and Grant Kenny, who's just won the single ski title, has the advantage of the ski leg first up.
Grant's an excellent ski paddler. He's paddling the red and yellow ski right in the middle of the screen. It's certainly a class meal. Dean Mercer, the New South Wales champion, and his brother Darren, the Kellogg's Nutrigrain champion. Trevor Hendy, the reigning champion the last 2 years. fantastic field in very, very hard conditions.
Others in the field, Jason Mewett from Maroochydore, Miles Blackwell, Alexander Headland, John Robinson from Kurrawa, Mark Bennett's the veteran from Southport, Greg Patrick's from Allura, Trevor Hendy would mention, who's going for 3 in a row, Lawrence Rees from Southport, Queensland, Craig Shelton, who's had success on the board today from Surface, Craig Riddington of Manly, who's never won it but been so close, John Cook from Surface, and another veteran, 2 times champion, Robert Chapman from Allura.
Yes, well, Robert Chapman paddling very well now. He's there on the orange ski and the light blue cap with the white band around the bottom, paddling very easily. And Miles Blackwell on the red and black ski, also paddling strongly there. They've got 3 legs to do, of course. Ski followed by the swim, a very, very difficult swim, and then the board race and the sprint to finish with.
Well, what about the draw? Favours anyone, Hendy, his favourite leg, the board last?
Board last, if Trevor can get out without much problem in the ski, the conditions are very difficult. There's Grant Kenny even having problems. There's Mark Bennett's there from Southport. Grant fell off the ski, Trevor fell off his ski, but they're back on and paddling now. And Maroochydore cap of Jason Mewett there in the bottom of the screen. But Robert Chapman from Allura leading the event. Robert Chapman, a winner of this event way back in 1978. And magnificent competitor of 32 years of age. Competes for the Allura Club in Sydney. The wind is very, very strong. Rain is pouring down. Grant Kenny about to come up and paddle over this wave on the red and yellow ski. Chapman has got a good clear break now, and if he doesn't have much trouble, he's a very, very good swimmer.
Yes, the skill of the surf lifesaver in these conditions come out over 4 days, doesn't it, Paul? The way they were able to read the surf and use it and bide their time and then play the correct tactics.
Yes, I'm sure they've all got great tactics. They need the break in the surf to do it. This surf has been so unpredictable. It's not an even rolling surf. There's waves breaking in places where they shouldn't be breaking. Robert Chapman on the bottom of the screen in the yellow ski got the best run there on that wave, and he's paddling very, very strongly. He's forcing himself into a bit of a lead. You see him working his rudder, trying to skate across. Darren Mercer from Thirroul in second place, and 3 competitors coming up now on Chapman who'll have to paddle to come up with this wave. Probably the best position Robert Chapman's been in an Ironman event for some time. But Darren Mercer there, a magnificent competitor, and his young brother Dean Mercer, the New South Wales champion.
Well, Darren Mercer, a lot of success in the Nutrigrain Longman Ironman competition, but never taken out the short course Johnson Wax national title.
Not an open, no. He's won a junior title. Trevor Hendy back in 3rd place now. It's still Robert Chapman from Allura first. And there's Robert paddling down a wave, a lot of forcing water behind him there. His ski just skimming across the top of the water. Others on the same wave behind him. Darren Mercer and Trevor Hendy now, who's paddled up very well. Considering Hendy fell off his ski at the start, he's made up great ground, Roger.
Yes, and his swim leg, which is next, has improved. Chapman's a very strong swimmer, but remembering that Trevor Hendy has that final board leg.
Well, Trevor Hendy, of course, was placed in the Queensland Open Surf Race Championship, so no slouch swimming himself. There's Trevor Hendy now running along the beach. Huge physique. He's breathing in as much oxygen as he can. Looks, they'll run south to take advantage of the rip. You see them after they enter the water at ankle depth, moving as far south as they can. A host of competitors now coming in, including Grant Kenny there on the red and yellow ski, but it's still Robert Chapman first. Hendy coming up, overtaking him. Chapman's gone back into 2nd place, Darren Mercer 3rd. There's Miles Blackwell, John Robinson, Maroochydore, Grant Kenny running around the flag, Johnny Cook from Surfers Paradise, and Mark Bennett's in his 15th Australian Open Ironman final.
Well, he's rated these conditions this weekend as the worst ever in those 15 years, and significant also, Paul, that Craig Riddington turned 4th going into the swim leg. He's won of the Open Surf Race.
And he's also the world champion, the Australian Surf Race champion. He will put in his best effort now. Craig Riddington will see this as his best chance. He's not that far behind, and he will sprint this surf section as fast as he possibly can, because I'm sure Craig knows if he's not next to Trevor Hendy at the start of the board leg, he's going to do it very tough. Trevor Hendy is an outstanding board paddler, and the way he's swimming here today, he's a very, very good swimmer as well.
And once again, it's a very tough swim. You see the chop, and it's been like that for the 4 days of the carnival.
Now, Darren Mercer is moving right up on Hendy here. Mercer swimming extremely well. Hendy on the bottom of the screen, and Mercer just behind him in the white cap with the blue stripes from Thirroul. They both dive under the wave there. Big waves, strong wind. Competitors must be exhausted after 4 days of competition for their states and their club. And this is the final event on a magnificent program.
Well, some of them, like Bennett and Hendy, have just come back from the Taplin Relay.
Yes, and of course, Hendy was in the board rescue race that he won earlier today, paddled in the board race, paddled in the Taplin Relay, gone through all the heats, quarters, semi-finals. But Mercer now looking very strong as he starts to move up on Hendy. He's also a very good board paddler. Quite a few swimmers now moving along, waiting to try and find Craig Reddington come into this picture, because I don't think it'll be long before Reddington moves up into a place.
So back with the leaders, Trevor Hendy and Darren Mercer. And actually when they get round the buoy, there's the opportunity to pick up the wave. And this is becoming a titanic tussle between these two.
Well, Darren Mercer's putting in a magnificent swim here. He's going to catch Hendy in the next 20 or 30 metres in this swim. He'll want to turn first so that he can have the best chance of the waves coming home. Trevor may have be paying the penalty a little bit here for so many races over the weekend. Mercer is really starting to push on him, and he's going to try and get under his shoulder and drag. You see the waves breaking out further than the boys. They're coming up to the orange buoy where they'll turn.
A tremendous shot to say how awkward it is for the conditions, particularly swimming with the surf and the water bobbling around. Very awkward indeed, and Mercer's decided to go inside underneath Trevor Hendy.
Mercer has cut inside, dives under the wave, big surf. Hendy, of course, very, very strong competitor. Difficult to know what these competitors are keeping in reserve for the final leg. They can't expend all their energy in this swim section. You see them now swimming stroke for stroke. Trevor Hendy on the left of your screen and Darren Mercer on the right. I think Mercer now has just moved into the lead, and the boy from Thirroul, the Nutrigrain champion, he's really pushing it away.
Hendy not wanting him to get too far away is really putting it in now. He realises that Mercer put in a big one to get in front to get that advantage as they go round the buoy.
And Mercer was able to get a little lift on that swell there. A great tussle in this Johnson Wax Open Ironman Championship. Look at Trevor Hendy move up on that swell. Good wave building up out the back here. A really good wave, and Mercer has been able to get it. Mercer's holding the wave. A brilliant piece of surfing. That gave him quite a good lift. Hendy stops swimming. He looks and waits for a wave building up out the back, and he'll come through and make up some of that lost ground. This is developing into a two-horse race. Mercer punching that water away. Hendy doesn't appear to be tired. He's just taking his time. Knows that he's probably the best board paddler in the field. Craig Reddington from Manly. We knew he'd come into contention on this swim leg, and he's now moved up into third place. Oh, this is going to be a fantastic finish of this second leg of the Australian Open Ironman Championship, and it's still Mercer from Hendy and then Reddington.
So still a lot of work to be done when you consider they've had to swim so hard out to the boys. Reddington just off the back of a wave, Hendy the opportunity. So all three missed the wave. No respite.
Now the places as I see it coming back in now is Darren Mercer in first, Trevor Hendy second, Craig Reddington third, and Dean Mercer, also from Thirroul, in fourth place. Now there's a wave here, and he's pulled over the top of it. Oh, that was great work. Great work, but there's another wave behind, and I'm sure that Hendy will be coming through. Yes, he's on that wave too. They're both punching it on the wave. Hendy surfing well, Mercer in the best position to run. But look at the big legs of Trevor Hendy as he gets up and starts the chase. And here comes Reddington and Dean Mercer. Dean Mercer has now taken over the lead. Dean Mercer now forcing his way along, and followed by his brother Darren Mercer, then Trevor Hendy and Craig Reddington. Reddington a little bit slow on the run. Now Darren Mercer forces his way to the front once again. Hendy just lopes along, those big legs floating along the sand. He said, I want the board leg, and I'm going to go flat out in this one.
What a fantastic setup as we go into the final leg, the board leg, and the Australian champion of last year, Trevor Hendy, surely must think that he's got this a great chance to make it 3 in a row, despite the talents of Darren Mercer, brother Dean and Craig Riddington.
Hendy does know his strengths on the board, and he's just jumped straight on, and in the space of 2 or 3 paddles, he's moved to a 2 or 3 metre lead. Now that's just unbelievable. You watch Hendy, he appears to be very relaxed, but his big strong arms are just forcing through the water. If the waves are not unkind to him, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. Now Mercer's coming along there. We see a host of other competitors coming in. There's Robinson from Curra in the yellow cap with the white stripes. But still Trevor Hendy from Surfers Paradise first, Darren Mercer from Thirroul second, Dean Mercer in third, and Craig Reddington from Manly in fourth. This is going to be a magnificent finish.
And Trevor Hendy continues to increase his lead, and he's doing it beautifully, Trevor Hendy. Look at the gap he's got now.
He's just too strong in the arms and the shoulders, and he loves that surfboard paddling. Now, considering he went into the water at the same time as Mercer, he's probably got a lead of 30 or 40 metres now. A magnificent effort.
Still
some of the back markers now still forcing their way out. They're probably 150 metres behind the leader at this stage, and the conditions were Grant Kenny yet to enter the water on the board leg.
So 4 times champion Grant Kenny from 80 to 83 won't add to that, but still he will go away with the single ski title, and back with Trevor Hendy.
Good to see Hendy's technique. He'll wait till the broken wave comes, ease the nose of his board, and then just loop those big arms over and pull the board through. He doesn't rate very high, but his strength is enormous. Now there's a good sized wave coming up, but a great lead he's got over the last 3 competitors, Reddington and the 2 Mercer brothers. Now Hendy on the left-hand side of the screen. Second place is Dean Mercer from Thirroul on the red board. Then Craig Reddington and Darren Mercer back in equal fourth. A big wave just hit Trevor Hendy then, and this gives the others a chance to catch a little bit. And there's another huge wave pounding down out the back. Hendy forces the board up and he's off. Trevor Hendy's off his board. Regathers it quickly. Young Mercer, Dean Mercer from Thirroul now. Hendy forces his way over that again. Their strength must be sapped, but Hendy's still forcing his way out. Mercer and Reddington now starting to challenge him.
What a fantastic performance by Hendy to regroup and to settle himself down and get back into that lead again. He was in the lead, but there was a threat coming from Dean Mercer and Darren Mercer.
Hendy turns his board over. He didn't try and force his way through that. Perhaps he's getting tired. I still think the big fella's got enough in him here. When the pressure's on, he's going to absolutely pour it on when he gets out the back through these waves and try and establish a gap. But Dean Mercer is putting in an unbelievable struggle here. He's moving up now as they come over another swell. He'll try it. He's off. Dean Mercer fell down and off his board there. He's regrouped and got back on. There he goes, kneeling up again. And Hendy's still paddling away, those big arms forcing the board. Lifts himself up, rests the back, has a look and sees where the boys are. Coming into the first of the turning boys, Trevor Hendy followed by Dean Mercer. Hendy comes around and falls off his board. Hendy's strength is sapped, I think. He gets back on. Dean Mercer unable to pass him because Hendy was in the road. Now, Dean Mercer, a very, very good runner, and there is a lengthy sprint, but here comes Trevor Hendy. His strength just pushes him over this wave. Hendy's going to do it again. He's going to win his 3rd Australian Ironman Championship. He's lost in the foam of that enormous wave out there. It was never in doubt, really. He was just too strong. And when Mercer came up to him and that big wave was there, Hendy said, this one will do me. And there he goes. Look at him paddling in magnificent style. Trevor Hendy from the Surfers Paradise Club in Queensland. He's going to win his 3rd successive Johnson Wax Ironman Championship of Australia. Straightens the board up nicely. There'd be a great grin on his face if we could get close to him.
What a fantastic performance, because not only has the surf been at him, but his opponents have been right after him going up towards the buoys, and he's come through with this fantastic performance, Trevor Hendy, to make it 3 in a row.
He's probably had the heaviest. Here comes Mercer out the back on another wave. Mercer's going to challenge. Now here comes Mercer on the red board on the right-hand side of the screen. He's really put in a big effort. It's going to be a lot closer, and Mercer's got the best of the run. Mercer's off. Mercer's going to win it. Dean Mercer from Thurrool. Dean Mercer from Thurrool racing down, and it's Dean Mercer. Dean Mercer has beaten Trevor Hendy. What an upset.
What a sensational finish. Out of the blue, Dean Mercer.
And here comes Darren Mercer, his brother, into third place. Now the paddle of Dean Mercer on that board after Hendy caught the wave was just unbelievable.
And just when we were talking about Trevor Hendy wrapping up his third Ironman title, this is the performance of Dean Mercer picking up that wave and coming right through and giving himself the opportunity, first off in the board, the best placed, and putting the pressure right back on the current champion.
It's quite unbelievable that Dean Mercer was able to catch up. Hendy had an enormous lead. Mercer just didn't stop trying. Up and around, position himself better. Hendy struggling there to try and win his third in a row. But the young boy from Thurrool, Dean Mercer, comes through and breasts the tape in convincing fashion to win the Johnson Wax Ironman Championship.
So Dean Mercer breaking through for his first official senior Ironman title. Trevor Hendy so close to making it 3 in a row, and Darren Mercer completing a great day for the Mercer family and for the Thurrool Club on the New South Wales South Coast.
I've waited 10 years for this.
Okay, you've got Dad on top, Johnny Mercer's up there now. Dean, that board leg was your best leg.
I think the whole thing really, I was just happy with everything.
What about that final sprint there with Trevor Hendy?
Darren!
Well,
Darren,
the last 2 years it's been a sprint up the line with me for the junior Ironman. I've missed out 2 years in a row there, so maybe the third time I got it, eh?
Well, it's a very happy family with the whole Mercer family. Congratulations, John. Well done to you.
Thanks.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Ironman, Dean Mercer. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Ian.